News and information, press 5.
They are politicians, all of them. They know what they do.
So they know how they attack each other.
To stay connected all day, press 1.
The person who raised the name is the one who made the public know about.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Wearables and your premium talk radio station.
We are your premium talk radio station. Today 95.1 FM, the station with a unique dial.
Some people will carry human head in their boots and they will not charge them because they are collecting bribe.
When they go collect salary, then go say government need to pay them bribe.
All these taxi drivers safe. They don't even get papers. Even driver's license safe, they no get.
Back there. Hold on there.
Their cars are in bad shape, very, very bad shape. They have no ethics of driving. That is why they will continue to bribe so that they can have their way.
I will shoot you down. I will shoot you. Headlight, you no get. Side mirror, you no get. Motorway to carry animal. Now you take put for road to carry human being. You don't even wind the motor when rain they fall. You no get conscience at all. Take, you be number 15. You be number 5. More than enough for them na number.
Let's allow them do their job.
Do not obstruct justice by giving or taking bribe. Avail yourself a check. Even you, Oga driver, stop reckless driving and always update your papers. This information
is brought to you by Today 95.1 FM.
Voice of the people.
Officer, give me change. Now 1,000 I give you.
It's a new day. It's a beautiful, beautiful day in the garden city of Port Harcourt, Rivers State, Nigeria. How are you doing? Today 95.1 FM is here for you all day long. Cheers to a wonderful day. Stay tuned.
Good morning, and thank you for staying with Today 95.1 FM. Welcome to our newspaper review segment on today's quest. 4 minutes now past the hour of 8. Today, the 22nd of June 2023. I am Kelly Ikemenjaman. It's a joy, it's a pleasure, always a delight to be here. We'll be together from now till noon doing what we do. Just to remind you, at 9 a.m., the news update would follow. And after the news update, we'll go straight to opinion poll. 10, the news update again, another one. And then after that, we'll go straight to Real Talk. All right? Like I said, Kelly Kimenjma is my name. Welcome everyone to the newspaper review segment on today's quest. Between 8 and 9, we'll look at some of the trends and some of the videos on social media. And then we'll look at the papers, run some analysis on some of the stories before we get to our exclusive segment. So, acting IGP, that's what it should be, yeah? Acting IGP, Egbetokum resumed or assumed office yesterday. And then he had a chat with the media on a few things. He talked about community policing, talked about Tiger and Lion, that statement. Let's even begin with that. He tried to explain it. So take a listen.
The first man that asked question, I didn't quite get your question. I don't know whether you wanted me to explain what I meant by what I said yesterday when I said that the way I was feeling right now is like there is a tiger or a lion in me ready to chase away the criminals in Nigeria and devour the internal enemies of Nigeria. I said that just to express how very anxious I am to start working. And to also convey the message that I am aware that there are enemies that we need to fight together. And if you listen to my speech, I mentioned it that we all need to collaborate together to be able to surmount the security challenges facing our country today. So it's going to be our collective responsibilities. All of us will be involved. Everybody is going to be turned to a policeman. So we will all be police. You journalists, you are here. We are going to work together. Okay? We are going to partner with every groups, every individual, every law-abiding citizen who have to be brought on board. You must give us information. Apart from technical intelligence, we are also going to rely so much on human intelligence, which we believe is available within our communities.
Did you hear him say you must give us information? You must give us information. Oh dear. And then he talks about the so-called community policing that the police say they've started. I don't even know what that is, but he says they're going to improve. His administration would improve on that particular policy. Take a listen.
Then there was a question on community policing. Well, there is a lot that we are going to do differently in the implementation of the community policing strategies that we are operating presently. We have seen, I discussed that with the retiring IG, the IG that just retired, my predecessor. I discussed that with him just before we came here. And he told me all the problems that we are facing with the implementation of that community policing strategy. We are not going to set it aside. We are going to continue with it, but we are going to review a lot of things.
Okay. Yeah, those are just the things I want to share with you today. There's a trending video of Bill Gates, who had a conference yesterday about Wizkid, brother Burna Boy and Rema. Yes, Burna Boy and Rema. Both of them are doing pretty good right now on the charts, international front, making Nigeria really proud. So he talked about that, and then he said a few other things. Talked about the Japa syndrome as well. Yeah, some of the things you see on social media. But for now, let's go to the papers and look at some of the stories we'll be talking about today on the show. All right. As usual, we begin with Daily Post. Be reminded that our post up on Facebook at Today95.1 FM. Facebook, Today95.1 FM. You can read it up for yourself by just clicking on any of those stories. Just tap on it and it takes you to the site so you can get a bit more detail for yourself. Daily Post is where we begin with the hottest story trending today. Yes, by the headline, it can get you really, really upset. But you need to just read it to have an understanding of it. Okay? Tinubu to be dragged to court over 114% salary increment from the Daily Post. Socioeconomic Rights and Accountability Project SERAP on Wednesday threatened to institute a legal action against President Bola Tinubu in court. SERAP threatened to sue Tinubu over the illegal 114% increment on the salary and that of his vice president, Kashim Shettima. The body described the salary increment of state governors and lawmakers as outrageous. FG confirms plans to increase Tinubu, Shettima, governors, judges, their salaries. The Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission has said that it plans an upward salaries review. That's a key thing. It plans an upward salaries review for President Bola Tinubu, Vice President Kashim Shettima, governors, judiciary officers, and other political office holders. According to the news agency of Nigeria, the chairman of the organization or the commission, Alhaji Muhammadu Shehu, disclosed this at the presentation of reports of the reviewed remuneration package to Kebbi State Governor Dr. Nasir Idris on Tuesday in Benin, Kebbi. However, Shehu did not state the percent salary increment. He urged the 36 state houses of assembly to hasten efforts to amend relevant laws to allow the review of remuneration packages for political, judicial, and public officers upward. You see the key thing? He urged the 36 state houses of assembly to hasten efforts. So you see, it's still a process that is ongoing, but that is what they want to do. The upsetting thing for a lot of Nigerians is that is their intention. It is their intention to do. It's not something that has been done yet. It's their intention to do. Shell's statement comes amid speculations that Tinubu, Shettima, governors, judges, and other political persons' salaries had been increased by 114%. The chairman of the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission, represented by the Federal Commissioner, Mrs. Rakia Tanko Ayuba, says the proposed salary review is in line with the provisions of paragraph 32D of Part 1 of the third schedule of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended. Quote, it empowers the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission to determine the remuneration appropriate for political office holders, including the president, vice president, governors, deputy governors, ministers, commissioners, special advisors, legislators, and the holders of the offices mentioned in sections 84 and 124 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Shell says the last review was carried out in 2007, which culminates in the certain political, public, and judicial office holders' salaries and allowances, etc. Amendment Act 2008. 16 years after the last review, it is imperative to state that the remuneration packages for the categories of office holders mentioned in the relevant sections in the 1999 Constitution as amended should be reviewed. That's the story. Should be reviewed. So what they're pushing is 114%, but you would require lawmakers to give a nod to that before it can happen. High Court reserves ruling on Emefiele's bail application. The High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, sitting in Abuja, has reserved its ruling on the bail application of the suspended Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, to July 13, 2023. The presiding judge, Justice Hamza Muazu, gave the order after hearing the argument of all the parties in the matter. Emefiele, through his counsel, is challenging its detention by the State Security Services and the denial of access to members of his family and counsel. Counsel to both the SSS and the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation opposed the bail application of Godwin Emefiele. Respondents told the court that Emefiele is a flight risk. We'll get to this in a moment. Let's just take it easy. New IGP of Police, or new IG of Police, Betokun, officially assumes office at the force headquarters. The new appointed Acting Inspector General of Police, Kayode Betokun, has assumed office at the force headquarters in Abuja. It was after the immediate past IGP, Usman Baba, officially handed over to him at about noon yesterday. President Bola Tinubu had appointed Betokun as the new acting IGP alongside the service chiefs on Tuesday. Hakeem Odumosu clears air on appointment as EFCC chairman, a trending story as well. Retired Assistant Inspector General of Police Hakeem Odumosu has again denied reports that he was appointed as a substantive chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. Reports had emerged on Tuesday that he had been appointed subject to confirmation by the Senate. But in a statement issued and signed by Odumosu on Wednesday, he denied any knowledge of such an appointment. He described the circulation of the appointment as fake, urging Nigerians to disregard the said report. He says, "Good morning, everyone. I have been inundated with so many calls and messages between yesterday and today on a purported EFCC appointment. I just want to use this opportunity to debunk this information and say it's totally untrue. This information must have emanated from mischief makers and should be totally disregarded." Vanguard is our next stop. Stay clear of more borrowing. DMO tells or cautions the federal government. This is an agency that kept patronizing the Buhari administration when all that the Buhari administration wanted to do was borrow. They kept patronizing. I remember how many number of times that Patience Sonia kept talking about, oh yes, we understand. Our debt to GDP ratio is not a problem. We have a revenue problem, so the federal government blah 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 blah. But stay clear of more borrowings. DMO cautions the federal government. The Debt Management Office DMO is warning the federal government against additional borrowing, saying 73.5% of revenue generated this year will be used to service debt. According to the DMO, the projected FGN debt service to revenue ratio is 73.5% for 2023 is high and cannot support higher levels of borrowing and is also a threat to debt sustainability. Consequently, the DMO advised the federal government to focus on increasing revenue generation, stressing that attaining a sustainable debt service to revenue ratio will require increasing FGN revenue from 10.49 trillion naira projected in 2023 budgets to about 15.5 trillion naira. He gave this warning as part of recommendations to the federal government following analysis of the nation's debt profile in 2022. There's a report which they released, and the report has some of those details. Vanguard brought us that story. FGOK's reopening of semi-border for vehicle importation. FGOK's reopening of semi-border for vehicle importation. Just listen to the story. Director of Road Transport to the Ministry of Transportation, Ibrahim Musa, yesterday disclosed that the federal government has approved the reopening of the semi-border for the importation of vehicles. Speaking at the Economic Community of West African States ECOWAS meeting organized between officials of Nigeria and Benin Republic, Musa says the development follows complaints by freight forwarders operating at the semi-border. The director, who spoke at the ECOWAS monitoring team's visit to joint border, puts it this way: I was here with the former Minister of State for Transportation when the freight forwarders pleaded that the border be reactivated for the free movement of goods and services. The former minister made us prepare a memo to that effect. It was considered and sent to the government. Also, Customs Area Controller of Semi-Border Command said the service had noticed a reduction in its revenue since the importation of vehicles was banned from the land borders. The ministry is informed, or has informed us, that the memo has been written to the FEC, that's the Federal Executive Council, and it was adopted, and that it would be given to the new government, assuring us that the request would be adopted. So it doesn't mean that it's open yet. We don't have that express statement that the border has been opened. It's going through review. That is what it means. Tribunal, Tinubu INEC kick as Peter Obi tenders total PVCs in 32 states. The Presidential Petitions Court sitting in Abuja admitted in evidence a bundle of exhibits containing the total number of permanent voters card PVCs collected in 32 states of the Federation before the 2023 general election. Equally admitted in evidence by Justice Haruna Samani led 5-member panel bundle of documents that contain the total number of registered voters in the state. The exhibits were brought before the court by the candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, who alleged that the presidential election held February 25 was rigged in favor of President Bola Tinubu of the All Progressives Congress, APC. Though Obi's legal team was led by Dr. Levi Ozuku, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, the exhibits were, however, tendered through another senior lawyer in the team. The petitioners told the court that the exhibits were duly certified by INEC. However, INEC, through its lawyer, Mr. Kemi Pihero, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, said it was vehemently opposed to the admissibility of the exhibits in evidence. Also, that of President Tinubu and the APC, who are the second and third respondents in the matter, challenged the admissibility of the said evidence. All the respondents said they would adduce reasons behind their objections in their final written addresses. But despite the objections, the court admitted in evidence documents on the total number of PVCs from the 32 states and marked them as exhibits PCN 1 to PCN 32. Let's move on. From there, look at some more stories this morning. 144% salary increase. Raising minimum wage for poor workers should come first. This is Shehu Sani, Senator, speaking Against the backdrop of a proposed 114% increase in the salaries of elected politicians, including the president, vice president, governors, lawmakers, as well as judicial and public office holders, a former Kaduna lawmaker, Senator Shehu Sani, says raising the minimum wage for poor workers should come first. In a tweet, which I just want to go to, raising the minimum wage of poor workers should come first before that of the elites holding public offices. With this 114% increase, a federal legislator will earn about 2 million naira monthly salary and 25 million monthly running cost for his office. Money derived from the removal of subsidy should be spent wisely. That's from the Vanguard still. I'm leaving Nigeria Police better than I met it. Ex-IGP Usman Baba is speaking. Former Inspector General of Police Usman Akali Baba says he's leaving the country or the police, Nigeria Police Force, better than he met it. Baba said this when he officially handed over the mantle of leadership to the acting IG Kayode Igbetokun at the force headquarters in Abuja on Wednesday. The outgoing IGP added that he believes he added value to policing in Nigeria. Okay. Premium Times is our next up this morning. Nigeria government spends 6,900 naira per person on health annually. Bill Gates. The co-chair of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Bill Gates, has cited poor investment in the nation's health sector as part of the challenges limiting the potential of many Nigerians. Gates spoke on Wednesday in Lagos during the Pan-African Youth Innovation Forum, noting that the country spends only $10 per person on healthcare. The amount is equivalent to about 6,900 based on exchange rates to the Nigerian foreign exchange market on Wednesday as of the time of filing this report. Mr. Gates says the Nigerian government must improve its investment in equitable solutions and in the people who are working on them. It's totally untrue. Hakeem Odumosu speaks on EFCC appointment. Just read that story. Premium Times has a version of it as well. So let's move on. The sweeping sack as ordered by President Tinubu a few days ago. Well, one of the agencies clearly affected by it, the NDDC, is speaking. Board dissolution. Niger Delta Ministry directs Ogboku to continue as NDDC Chief Executive. With the rider, leave the rider. The Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs has directed Samuel Ogboku, the Managing Director of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, to continue as the Commission's Chief Executive pending the constitution of a new board by President Bola Tinubu. In line with the directive from the Presidency, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs, Shuaibu Belgore, whose ministry oversees the activities of the NDDC, directed Mr. Ogboku to continue as the Commission's Chief Executive until a new board is constituted. This was contained in a statement from the NDDC's Director of Corporate Affairs, Ibitoye Obosade, on Wednesday. Let me take a quote. All official correspondences requiring the attention of the President should be routed through the office of the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs, who will further liaise with the office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation for necessary action. You are required to provide a weekly report on your financial and procurement activities for onward transmission to the office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. That's a statement. So with this, it means Onoche has gone as the board chairman of the NDDC. With that sweeping announcement from the President, Onoche has gone. And if that's the case, all the millions and almost $1 billion or perhaps $1 trillion budgeted for the NDDC to spend, who will come collect that money? Anyway, let's move on. Why outgoing naval chief is yet to hand over to successor? Spokesperson, an unnecessary row, but this is a story. The Navy headquarters has dismissed as false allegation that the outgoing chief of naval staff, Awo Gambo, a vice admiral, refused to hand over to the new appointed chief, Emmanuel Ogala. In a statement on Wednesday, the director of naval information, Adedotun Ayo, said that handing over in a military follows procedure. Okay, President Tinubu had appointed Mr. Ogala as Rear Admiral on Monday as the new chief of Navy staff. Mr. Ayo, a Commodore, says the publications by some online are malicious lies, misleading and capable of spreading falsehood to unsuspecting members of the public. It is therefore necessary to put the records straight. Suffice to state that handing and taking over ceremony in the Nigerian Navy from inception is procedural. Upon the announcement of the change of the watch on deck, the outgoing CNS is expected to give a detailed brief to the incoming CNS, tour key Navy facilities, and perform the ceremonial lowering of ensign. Accordingly, the program of events leading to the formal handing and taking over ceremony has kicked off to culminate at a public ceremony on Friday, June 23, in line with age-long Navy tradition. Spokesperson added that sister agencies are also due to hand over as they set aside specific dates for their handing over and taking over ceremonies. All right, so let's move on from that. A bit of clarification. Assets forfeiture. Court fixes October 23 to hear Diziani's suit against the EFCC. A federal high court in Abuja has fixed October 23 to hear a suit by Diziani Alison Madueke, former Minister of Petroleum Resources, challenging the final forfeiture of her seized assets. In 2022, the EFCC secured order of court for the final forfeiture of 2 houses belonging to her. But on Wednesday, Ian Ekwo, the presiding judge, fixed October 23 to hear Madueke's suit challenging the forfeiture. The judge gave the hearing date after Benson Igbano, the former minister's lawyer, and MD Barrier, counsel to the EFCC, regularized their processes in the suit. All right, let's move on. Egbetokun clarifies, I feel like a tiger remark, says he was anxious to start working. Well, that's what we started with this morning. It's part of the trends we've seen today on social media. Tribune opens with this one. Why we ban dependence visa for Nigerians and others? UK. Why we ban dependence visa for Nigerians and others? The UK is speaking. One of our conversation for opinion poll, but let me just go through it. The British High Commissioner to Nigeria, Richard Montgomery, on Wednesday explained that the United Kingdom's decision to ban international students from bringing family members with them from 2024 is to prevent undue pressure on the host housing infrastructure and to control migration. He made the assertion to correspondents after a closed-door meeting with Vice President Kashim Shettima at the presidential villa. And he puts it this way: many more students are trying to bring their dependents with them, but it's not always possible to find the housing and services to meet all the needs of all our existing student population. We'll have to manage our migration in and out of the UK. Recall that the UK Home Office said May 23 that international students, including Nigerians, will no longer be able to bring their family members with them starting January 2024. Answering a question on the issue, the British High Commissioner says, I think there are two issues here. The first is it's not always possible to find the housing and services to meet all the needs of all our existing student population. Second, reasonable people would accept that we have to manage our visitor numbers, and we'll have to manage our migration in and out of the UK, just as the Nigerian government would do. And he went on to reveal that Nigerian students coming to the UK had increased fivefold in the last 3 years, even as they make up to 10% of those granted UK visas annually. That's on that part. And then he went on to speak on the policies of the Tinubu government so far. He says, I discussed with His Excellency the big economic decisions taken by this government as being really important and are being noticed around the world. The removal of subsidy, exchange rate reform, all of that create a much better investment environment. I was in London last week. I was briefing my ministers, but I was also talking to British businesses in finance, banking, and investment sectors. They're all responding very positively to these first decisions. All right, let's move on from there. World leaders scrambled to meet Tinubu at Global Financial Pact Summit. That's according to Dele Alake. Some of the countries mentioned will be France, United States, and Switzerland, among others. And then our final story this morning, Punch newspaper. A lady arrested as boyfriend dies during sex romp. Trending story in the state, but some concerns. Rivers Police Command has arrested a lady in connection with the death of a barber, popularly called Otubong, at his residence in Mile 2 Job, Port Harcourt area. A source said the lady, upon realizing that the police were on her trail after she had fled following Otubong's death, while they were reportedly engaged in sex, turned herself in at the Azikiwe Police Division located on Ilabuchi, Port Harcourt. Immediately she went to the police station. The lady was arrested and detained because the police have been searching for her since that time. The PRO of the command in River State, Superintendent of Police Grace Ngekuko, equally confirms her arrest. She says she's been arrested and investigation is ongoing. Meanwhile, the Vice Chairman of the Center for Basic Rights Protection and Accountability Campaign, Afudosa Stevens, urged the police to carry out a thorough investigation and ensure that the lady is not stigmatized. All right, that's the stories we're looking at today. And let me introduce first, as we expect members of the panel to join us, the one and only Mr. Emmanuel Ndukwe. Good morning to you, sir. Welcome.
Good morning, Kelly. Good morning, Nigeria.
Let's begin with this first story. I'm a bit curious. Things can happen, and we can't shake it off. Sometimes they say when you want to go ahead and hit somebody, you should restrain yourself, because you don't know if that's friendly tap can cause somebody to lose the person's life, and the person will just fall and die. They say you've killed the person. But this one, they were engaging in something pleasurable, and somebody died. We hear a lot of things, how some people use enhancements and stuff so they can impress. But my concern is the arrest of the lady. It seemed to be a practice, like Emefiele were talking about the other day about procedure. Emefiele is still said to be in the custody of the SSS, and the SSS still not making public the charges against Emefiele, so they have an order from the magistrate court to keep him in custody. It doesn't really make sense. If you're investigating, why are you holding the person put? Can't you release the person on some kind of administrative bail to say, hey, you have to be reporting to the police station or the investigating agency while we conclude our investigation to know the next level for prosecution, as against just arresting somebody and keeping them at wherever they want to keep them for as long as they want to keep them in the name of conducting investigation. Sendikwe.
Well, Kelly, the authorities always, especially police authorities, have a way with themselves. Because you can't tell me they don't understand this law, because anything at all, anytime they stop anybody, they are the people that will be quoting the law for you, that you violated this and that and all those laws. Now, I want to believe that they understand even this simple one, that you should not hold somebody that is in more than 48 hours. They understand that very well. But once they can keep you for as long as maybe it takes for you your people to come or so. And so the issue is that, yes, the lady has to be arrested. I support the arrest. But like you said, the arrest has to be maybe something that should be intermittent, in the sense that you arrest her, you allow her go, and perhaps if there's need to call her back.
Exactly.
That is the way it should be.
Exactly.
But will the police authorities do it that way? They will do it on their own, the way they choose. And you may even come out, except their maybe top hierarchy, there's another issued from that particular place, and then they will obey it immediately. As soon as everybody removes ears and all that, they continue with their system. That is what has been going on in this country. Because, see, Kelly, if you go to where they call, I think they call it correctional facility. Now it's no longer prison. Good. If you go there and see those, is it in court or what? The way awaiting trial.
Awaiting trial.
Good. If you go there and see a lot of people that are waiting trial and nobody is coming to know exactly what actually these people did, whether they merit to go into prison or not, but they remain there. What kind of country is this? I keep on asking. So I think it shouldn't bother us much, because it's like a routine now. You can be detained and then forgotten, in short. So the boy is dead. Why I said I support the arrest of the woman?
Because there's a death now. So
good, and again, remember, there could have been another thing that killed the boy.
I agree.
So
I agree.
Let them find out. Sometimes...
But they should follow procedure.
No, of course. Of course, I have said that much. in my place they said, whatever is so sweet to an animal or man or woman, that thing they will use in cooking his intestine. It means a lot.
I don't know what that means. There's another story that I also want us to look at before we get to the 9 o'clock segment. We jump into opinion poll. So yesterday, some of our guest members of the panel had some reservations about Igbetokun's statement, I feel like a tiger.
Yeah.
He says he was just anxious to start working.
Kelly, you know, I supported the man. You know, sometimes somebody may be described as a tiger or lion or an elephant just because of the characteristic of that particular individual. I didn't see anything bad when Igbetoku said that the lion in him or he is like a tiger or lion. Nothing bad. It's the zeal in him is like the courage of the lion, and that, of course, the swiftness of a tiger and all that.
How about the ferocity?
That is it now. No, it could also be part of it, and that's why we put a caveat.
The way some of them interpreted it, which makes a lot of sense to me, is, well, the same way Akali Baba, if I'm not mistaken, when he came on board, went to the southeast and told them, if you catch them, deal with them, right?
Yeah.
If anybody brings issue of human rights abuse, you know what we will do now? We'll put it in one cupboard under our table, and that is where it will be forever.
And so, that's Inspector General of Police.
Yes, Akali Baba. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was Akali Baba that said so. Just after he was appointed acting Inspector General of Police by Muhammadu Buhari.
Yes.
He said that nothing happened, and after a while he came out to review it. That no, we did not say that we'll not take human rights serious, or we'll go against the rights of citizens, because even a criminal has rights.
Of course.
So this could suggest and be enabling the police to say, treat everybody with the ferocity of a tiger and a lion.
No, that's true. That's true. But I was explaining it in my own way of understanding what he said, because if he were going in the path of parables, that's exactly what it stands for. But there can be overzealousness in terms of that, and then he will also use that power, which is natural, he has, to the extent of overzealousness, and indeed overwhelm people who are, at least at that particular time, very innocent. It's very possible.
There's a part of that statement in clarifying where I said that citizens must give information to the police. Must.
See, Kelly, I think we shouldn't be worried about you must, because in my place he stated that it's not every spring or river that you will raise your wrapper and cross. In other words, there are certain instructions that will be given. Don't even do as if you've heard it. Is it a must? Now, some people, I have a friend who went and reported an issue to the police. And he was held down. He was going to somewhere, he saw something bad, and then he just went and reported. But that guy was held down, he didn't go to business that day. And other days, for 5 good days, he was hunted and looked for on that information he revealed. Do you think that man will ever go to police again and reveal any information? So if Igbetoku is telling anybody, you must, that already shows you the signal that there's trouble if you go and report.
That's the lion and tiger now.
And that is it. The tiger is showing.
The tiger is showing. So we should not excuse what he said initially out of excitement, because now it's making more sense. There was a story that was trending in River State, I think some 2 weeks ago or so, of a boat driver that either helped the lady that was kidnapped or so, and he went to the police to report, and the police arrested him.
Of course, even when they came to either UPTH or wherever, if I can't remember exactly, but they held on to him. He explained everything he can.
The lady had to come by herself to say, this one was the one that rescued me, that came to report.
See, the Nigerian police, I don't understand. That's why when they say they are our friends, I don't know the kind of friendship, Kelly. I don't know.
Same reason why yesterday I took it as, well, he was just speaking spur of the moment. He was excited about the decoration and everything. As I'll be like a tiger, I'll be like a lion. But the statements that he even made yesterday is adding force. It's giving it impetus. What exactly?
You must.
You must.
It's all right.
Could that be the spur of the moment as well?
Is it Kelly? Whatever. You know, I have said you don't raise your wrapper and cross that river, because you must. If Emmanuel Ndukwe does not go to the police to report, will anybody know that I heard anything?
I wonder.
Simple. So I think let your wrapper be flowing and then cross that river.
So how do you see this story? You know, this sweeping order by President Tinubu, the dissolution of all government agencies, ministries, except those, and then the NDDC is involved. Yesterday, we're talking about the SSS.
Yes.
Because when Tinubu left for France, Bichi was among those that lined up. The traditional parade that lines up to wave the president bye-bye. It looks like children when they are welcoming their daddy. Why do we do this in Nigeria? Former Inspector General of Police was there. He stood there. Chief of Staff was there. Yeah, I get it. If Chief of Staff decides to go there.
No, it has to be there.
I understand it. But you have people that should be working. People in positions that should be attending to issues. And those persons will just go and line up, wave at the president, take a presidential handshake when the president is either exiting the country or arriving in the country. I'm like, I see it as being childish. Some people say it's their moment. Let them enjoy themselves. But we hear now from that decision that the NDDC is equally affected, which would mean that Loretta Onochie has been fired. After all the almost a $1 trillion budgeted for spending the NDDC, and Oboku's job would even be on the line right now, because by the time the president comes back and says, who is remaining? Now fire. We need to put our people inside there. We need to fill some of those vacancies. We need to sack people. Somebody said yesterday that, I think it was you, Mr. Ndukwe, that the president would have people that he needs to put in that position.
Of course. As it comes in, it will gradually weed out Muhammadu Buhari's.
Why is it weeding? I don't understand why. It seems like opposition, the action of an opposition party, that's what Tinubu is doing. Is in a haste to get rid of anything connected with Buhari.
But I told you, Kelly, it doesn't matter. The party is not in consideration here. Within the same party, you have those that are very close and loyal to Tinubu. And then within that same party, you have those who are very close to Muhammadu Buhari. Now, Muhammadu Buhari has gone. He served his term. Now, Tinubu will want to remove those ones and let his own people. Because at the time the Muhammadu Buhari people were eating, Tinubu's men were going hungry. Now Tinubu will want,
but not all of them.
No, not all of them certainly, but a greater number of them were not eating at the same table with the loyalists of Buhari, and so Tinubu as president now will want his men to eat. That's what goes on in Nigerian politics, and I think everywhere in the world, those that are closest to the chief executive, that's the president, must indeed benefit more than others. And so if another person comes, you know, there's nobody who doesn't have enemies and friends. That is it.
So Loretta is gone like this. And
now
she didn't stay up to 2 years.
It doesn't matter. In fact, a day is enough.
One day.
I tell you, because especially now that budget has been released and all that.
But she didn't even have time to preside over the budget and how the money will be spent now.
I don't know what you are talking, Kelly.
No, but
are you saying that some...
Call me naive.
Some have not crossed to herself?
Imagine if she had served for like 3 years. If her appointment was supposed to be a reward from President Buhari to her for all the loyalty and selfless service that she had given to him.
Unfortunately, Buhari is gone.
Which wasn't even free, because she was actually serving in the office of the president as one of his media aides. But she needed to get to that position where she would exude authority. You know, she got there. We had all the back and forth about contracts, controlling of the NDDC, and so on and so forth. And Tinubu just gets into office. 3 weeks into office, sweeping order, everybody's sack.
See, Kelly, if perhaps, you know, in Nigerian politics, the tricks in Nigerian politics, it could be that Buhari is aware that Tinubu will now do this kind of purging.
Okay.
Or it could also be he's not aware. And if he's not aware, there's nothing he can do. There's nothing Onochie can do, and all the people affected, let them go. They had the time at least to wear the cap and it fitted them then. But now there's a new sheriff in town.
I think we should also state that maybe she'll be reappointed, or they could move her to somewhere else.
She will be very fortunate if that happens.
But she's a Tinubu supporter. She worked for Tinubu as well.
It's all right. Let's hope. It depends on if that support she has for Tinubu is very close.
How about the yes or wicked factor?
No, you see, that one is a burning one and it's very near. No, not. What I mean is that it just happened. And part of what happened here helped Tinubu to climb that podium. And so I think it will be considered.
So in Delta State, where she holds seeming popularity, she's from there. She had a running battle with Deputy Speaker of the former Senate President.
Yeah.
I'm saying the yes on wicked factor because if it's likely that she's reappointed, yes on wicked around here would have a lot of influence in what would happen in the NDDC for one, going by his closeness with the president in recent times.
No, it depends on the position he's kept. It depends on the position he's kept. It's not every position is not the same.
Let me introduce our guest who is also here, Mr. Paka Dokubo, Vice President, NUJ Zone F South. We didn't forget you. Welcome, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, brother.
So I know you've been listening to us. So let's just throw this at you. If there's a consideration to have Loretta Onoche, because we don't have confirmation that she is fired, we don't have confirmation of who has been fired, except for NAFDAC and the NDLEA. So Mawa retains his job. Mojishola Adeye retains her job. But others are fired. SSS is still there. Bichi is still there as Director General of the SSS. He waved the president, "Daddy, bye-bye" to France. And then they all got into their vehicles and drove back to wherever they went to. But if there were to be a consideration to return Onoche to that position as board chairman of the NDDC, could the yes on wicked factor come into play there? And whether or not she gets it?
I don't know what yes on wicked has to do with NDDC. I really don't know. I don't know. But as it were now, everything is at the behest of the president. And the way it's going, I am a little surprised. Just a little, not too much surprised at what is happening, because if you reflect, you will get to understand that whatever was the relationship between Buhari and Tinubu got to a head. Everybody got to know that truly there was little love lost between them when, the days leading to the elections. Because it became very, very clear. Buhari went about the way he went about it, the currency swap, whatever, was it design or whatever and everything. And Tinubu came out and his men to say that was directed at him. The same party. He said all of these things happening at this time was to bring him down, was to make him lose the election. Irrespective of the fact that they are the same. So that one became so clear to everybody that truly, it doesn't appear as if these people truly have been.
And you also know that
somewhere along the line,
Buhari wasn't actively campaigning for him prior to that time.
You are coming. I said everything got to a head at that point when somebody came out to say yes, these policies were directed at me. But the opposition parties were there. No, but it was me. So at that point, and when you found people like El Rufai also coming out into the fray and saying, no, this cannot be, and that we will get through this, and when we get there, they told us a little of what they will do. When they get there, they're going to clean up, and they've started to clean up. So, for me, for every other person that was in Buhari's camp, we wouldn't know from the outside what the exact intrigues and everything that went on before the primaries. But it was very clear Buhari's mind was somewhere else, and there were so many persons.
He had a preferred.
He had a preferred candidate.
But that pick refused to join the race.
as we're going, we will get to see at what point what hammer will have to hit at Adamu himself, because we know how Adamu himself is also
still in the
aligned with Buhari's whatever his preferred candidate. So we will. I think what Tinubu is doing is actually consolidating on power. He wants to really consolidate. When you get there, and that's why for me, I was very, very insistent that I was part of the school of thought that it would have been better for us to finish with every case regarding the elections and everything before somebody is sworn, inaugurated, and so that then we'll know where. But now with everything still hanging out there, somebody is here consolidating. The entire service chiefs are gone, but those who worked for him, like BT, are still there. So the ones that you can trust, that truly who were there in the thick of all of this thing, that had something for him, he has retained them.
But you know that it's also a question of time before BT2 takes the nod. Because
why not with all of this? You are talking about service chiefs. BT is part of the entire security.
The SSS is investigating some notable persons, and
is the EFCC not investigating?
We should call it in a funny, juxtaposed style. The case of Emefiele, the case of Bawa, who are in custody for more than 48 hours. A practice that Tinubu says I'm going to govern, not rule, would obey the principles of the rule of law, and the SSS tells us that they have a magistrate court order to hold a man that rumors have it all over the place that he's been held on criminal charges, and you take order from a magistrate court to hold him. So at least they said they're investigating some of these persons that the president has said step aside pending investigation from your office. So maybe BGC has more job to do before he too they fire him and they now set the same agency after him.
What are you? See, you may just be entering into the arena of conspiracy theories, but here we are. Tinubu knows where Bichi stands with him, and that this is one man that would know his heartbeat and really do it for him.
Would it be the same thing with Mele Kyari, NNPC?
Mele Kyari. And for that one, I think it's only a matter of time. Maybe there are things they're looking into.
So why?
I don't believe Mele Kyari will last long. Then.
So
I'm not.
I don't think so.
Why is his just a matter of time and Beach is not just because I know that Beach is very close to.
No, that's the economy. We're talking about security here. First and foremost, you need to get hold of your security. I mean, here you are president. How do you open up your flanks to anybody? That's the first place to deal with. That's where you consolidate. When you have the security around you that you are now safe, you can sit well, and then you look at others.
But see, nobody knows whether Bichi and Tinubu are also very close.
Because I know that Bichi is a strong Buhari person.
Because
Buhari brought him back from retirement to head the SSS.
Yes. You see, it could be that if Tinubu were there, he would have done the same. So we don't know. Because for me, why I'm saying this thing, I expected if he's firing other security men at the apex architecture of the security, then he should have also thrown in Bichi. Yes. Whatever made him leave Bichi for now, I don't know. It could be that Bichi will continue.
Okay. You still want to add something?
No, there's really little or nothing to add anymore. But the truth of the matter is that for me, I see Tinubu as somebody who, of course, they know this game, and he has people around him who are flocking around him who know how to play this game. You have it now, so you need to maximize your opportunity, whatever you have. Hold it well, and then
I'm feeling a little sympathy for Onochie. I haven't said Buhari for the years.
You have this thing.
I'm just saying, she wasn't in that position for up to 2 years.
For Onochie's case, I'm not dropping any tears for Onochie. There's no way I can drop any state.
A reward did not last long. That's all I'm just thinking about it.
It's unfortunate because nobody yet did cause it and any other Nigerian.
Well, Oga did what he could do for her. So
why didn't Oga go slow? Oga go slow. Move a bit faster for Onoche. But give her that office.
What you need to understand, you also, like Emma said, this is the time of also reaching out or letting your people. It's time for sharing the booty now.
Can't listen to understand
and
this
NDDC is one big area where the guys, the boys,
is she not up to 3 months?
3 months? I think she's been more than 3 months.
And mind you, she went in there with this entitlement mentality. Oh, this is man. That's why she started fighting with the MD. Because for her, it was something that was it was a reward. For all that she had done. So
but it was a reward now.
Of course, that was what it is. But then
she didn't need to make it obvious.
She didn't now need to go to the books to find out that her position. What she thought she was now executive. There
was division in the Senate for her appointment. There was a court order that the Senate should not go ahead with that appointment until that matter in court was vacated. The Senate said, "Who cares?" Lawal said, "Who cares?" he went ahead to confirm her, and then we heard that Agege was against her nomination for that position. We heard so. The Deputy Senate President at the time. So when you do all this 1+1 put together, the woman she met, so she'll be like, "Who are you?" After all the president sent me. I have the backing of the president, and I'm here.
And now there's a new president.
So she's
a pharaoh that did not know James.
I doesn't know her. So she's gone just like that.
But I'm not sure Onoche should have anything to worry about. She worked with Mr. President. He did all he could for her. All the appointments against all the odds, he still pushed her in. Of course, whether you like it or not, it will go into her resume. One-time chairman of NDDC.
Do they really care about the resume or what they get?
Well, it should be one time. If you're going to address NDDC now, what are you going to do? One-time chairman of NDDC.
Imagine she was there for like 3 years.
Well,
she didn't stay up to 1 year actually.
Somebody asked to be president for Nigeria in Nigeria for 1 day.
President is different from NDDC board chairman now.
There's no way that particular individual that requested for 1 day could just use his pen and sign everything.
Exactly. EFCC will catch you.
No, but what I'm telling you see this NDDC, Onoche, if she stayed there more than 3 months, she would have also had some cuts, the reasonable ones. I am telling you. She's been receiving salary now for the months she stayed there. Even this budget, she would have looked at it very well and then use her head appropriately.
Even though she didn't go there to receive salary alone. But at least she received salary.
I don't like the way you people are looking at this Onoche thing. I feel a lot for Onoche at this point.
Maybe
was Buhari unfair to her? He kept her too long in his office. He should have allowed
her for doing the watch.
Buhari did not do anything.
No, she didn't have. She wouldn't have had the kind of freedom then compared to now. In terms of what she will push, what she can command.
There were so many persons who did so much and didn't even get anything at all.
In Buhari's government?
Yeah.
Wow. All right, we have to go for the news update. When we come back, we'll go straight to opinion poll. Stay with us.
Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt, voice of the people. Whether it's happening in Port Harcourt, South Sound, Nigeria, or around the world, we've got you covered on air, online, delivering balanced news and unbiased analysis. Today 95.1 FM.
Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. News update.
A very good morning to you and thank you for joining us on the news update on Today 95.1 FM. I am Kelly Ikemenjima. The Nigerian Navy says former Chief of Naval Staff Vice Admiral Awo Gambo will hand over to his successor Rear Admiral Ikechukwu Ogala at a public ceremony tomorrow in line with age-long naval tradition. The Naval Director of Information, A.O. Ayo Vegan, in a statement also dismissed reports making the round that Gambo allegedly refused to hand over to Ogala following the retirement of all service chiefs by the president. Naval spokesman advised members of the public to discountenance the malicious publication and erroneous information as a figment of the reporter's imagination. The president of the Trade Union Congress, Festus Osifo, says government officials have not demonstrated cost reduction as they still go about with endless convoys despite the effects of fuel subsidy removal on the masses. Osifo also decried the cost of governance while drawing attention to the dwindling capital expenditure. He said Labour proposed 200,000 naira as a new minimum wage from 30,000 naira because it anticipated that the government would float the naira and allow market forces to determine the exchange rate of the national currency. The TUC boss argued that the value of 30,000 naira 5 years ago, when the minimum wage was last reviewed, has so far reduced with mounting inflation rates, soaring food prices and transport fares, among others. Water producers in River State have increased prices of table water due to the removal of fuel subsidy. River State Chairman of Water Producers Association of Nigeria, Egberi Maxson, who made this known in an interview with Today FM, Sandra Kenneth, said the agreement was reached due to tripling cost of production. He explained that fares for transporting goods and price of PMS to run factories have pushed the sector to review and increase the prices in order to remain in business. He further called on federal government to give waivers to importers of necessary materials, stressing that it will help the ease of production. On the foreign scene, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has kicked off a controversial visit to the United States by hosting a United Nations yoga event. Critics who condemned the display said it was a distraction from allegations on Modi's administration having leaned into a Hindu nationalism that has targeted minorities, eroded democracy and shrugged off human rights. That criticism has also been aimed at the administration of U.S. President Joe Biden, who is set to host Modi for an official state dinner today, one of the highest honors bestowed on a visiting official. Two leaders are also set to hold a joint news conference, and Modi will address a joint session of the U.S. Congress. And that's the news update on Today 95.1 FM. I am Kelly Ikemenjima. Good morning.
Talk radio. I listen to a lot of talk radio.
95.1 FM.
Celebration of life, Kala Omuso, Polo of Upobo Kingdom, River State, with families and friends of our beloved Amopusenibo, Godfrey Tamno Tonye Moses John Brown, announced that God has taken him home and we now live with the blessings of his lifetime on earth, aged 95 years. Burial arrangement, service of songs at St. Cyprian's Church, Hospital Road, Port Harcourt. Date, Thursday, 22nd June 2023. Time, 4 p.m. Funeral service at St. Paul's Church, Opobo Town, Saturday, 24th June 2023. Time, 11 a.m. Thanksgiving service at St. Paul's Church, Opobo Town. Date, Sunday, 25th June 2023. Time, 10 a.m. May his gentle soul rest in the bosom of the Lord. Amen. Signed, Ama Opusenibo, Boboso Free Brown, Chairman, Burial Committee.
Talk radio. I listen to a lot of talk radio.
95.1 FM.
All right, well, thank you so much for staying with us. We have guests in the studio at this time, so let's go ahead and speak with them. Guest from Handtech Markets joins us on the radio. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Good morning, listeners. My name is Waho Daniel from the Hantech family.
So tell us about the Hantech family.
Yeah, when people hear Hantech, a lot of things come across the mind, but Hantech is a multi-tier fintech company, a multi-tier fintech related company that has been in business for over 32 years and counting. Hantech as a company has been in the business of teaching people, exposing people, giving people the secret on the world's largest financial market, which could be classified as the FS market. Now, it's important to note that Hantech has been in this business for 32 years, and as a company, Hantech doesn't just exist here in Port Harcourt. It has its presence in over three continents and 12 countries of the world, including Africa. Back here in Africa, Hantech has an office in Abuja, Port Harcourt, Lagos, and Enugu. Okay. Then when you talk about the African countries where Hantech operates in Nigeria, Hantech operates in Ghana, Hantech also operates in Tanzania. Like I said before, this company has been in business for over 33 years, and the essence is teaching people the secrets to the world's largest market. Now, it is important to note something, that is one thing to trade on the financial market, is another thing to trade successfully. Now, being a trader, that you trade the financial market does not make you a successful trader. So our goal is to turn out successful traders. That's what Hantech market has been doing for the past 33 years.
So to be successful, one has to understand the negative data on the market.
To be successful, you have to understand how the market works, what moves the market. Why are you buying a particular currency or a particular commodity that you're buying at that particular time? What is influencing that currency to either go up or come down? These are the secrets that is embedded in the financial market. So Hantech exposes you to this secret. So you stand at a better point to know when to buy a particular product, when to sell a particular product, and when to stay off the market. Now, for novice, in every business there are rules governing those business, or let me say there are principles governing those business. So if you violate the principles, you either get burnt or you get crashed at the end of the day. So you must follow the principles that governs the business. Now, that you're a trader doesn't mean you have to trade 24 hours, even though the market is open 24/5. Do you understand? You don't have to be in the market 24. But there are times you stay out of the market. Perhaps it's not just either the market is not stable, okay, it's a ranging market. You don't have to trade that particular market. So you need to understand what moves the market. For instance, let's say we understand that since February last year, Russia invaded Ukraine, and that has caused an impact in the Western Europe. It has caused a negative impact, including the world at large. Now, you must understand what moves that particular market in that particular area. As at the time Russia invaded Ukraine, the European currency, which is known as the euro, was weakened against the dollar because of what was going on in Ukraine. Now, as a result of that, those who traded the dollar against the euro made a whole lot of money from it. But if you don't know, you could just dive into that market because you saw one or two, and at the end of the day, you get your hand burned, and the next thing you say, this thing is not working, this thing is like this, this thing is like that, because you don't really understand. You didn't bend down to know the principles, or go through a tutor, somebody who has been there over time, who has the knowledge, who understands, who knows the technical know-how to trade on this financial market, to guide you. Everybody, we all need mentors, okay? We all need mentors to be successful in any business that we're entering. Even if you want to be a salesperson somewhere, you need somebody to guide you on how to become a better salesperson. You don't just go and you start selling. There are words you don't, just like in journalism, there are words you don't use online. You get cut off when you're having a live broadcast or an interactive section. So these are principles that you must understand. But when you fail to understand these principles, then you get the adverse effect, which is you either have your hand burnt or you crash at the end of the day.
Okay, so I was talking about negative data. I heard that a lot. What does it mean and the implication?
Now, when you talk about negative data, a lot of persons, they don't really understand what moves a particular product. Or take, for instance, just recently, you had over 2 years ago, you had everywhere these investment companies here and there, and people run into those places and they give out their phones, hoping that these people are trading in the world's largest market. And it's one thing to tell somebody that you're doing a particular thing. It's another thing for you to actually be doing what you said you were doing. Now, people didn't do their due diligence. So when you talk about negative data, you're talking about data that are consequent, that are not consequential to what you're doing. These are data that have impact on a particular. Take, for instance, just recently the CBN announced form of a unified exchange rate in the market, and that strengthened the naira a bit. As at against when we have multiple exchange rate. Now, that announcement alone increased or strengthened the naira. Now, for those people who have traded that particular currency, they've made profit. Now, just take, for instance, Nigeria is dependent on oil. Now, the oil the number of barrels of oil that we turn out in a day, as at 2022, as at 2012, 2013, 2014, it was about 2.4 trillion barrels per day. But as at today, is about 1 point something million barrels per day. So you need to understand everything you're doing. You don't just go and dive into the market without having somebody guiding you on how those things work. Take, for instance, recently we just heard about the world scrambling for inflation rates, the hike of price of goods and services and all that. Yes, you need to pay attention to all these data. In Nigeria here, the inflation rate is skyrocketing on a daily basis. Just recently, they just removed the subsidy, and a lot of people are already crying. People are already crying on how to make ends meet, especially in transportation sector. Just recently, from Rumosi to this place, you could pay 15 naira, but today is 100 naira. Why? Because of the subsidy removal. So you need to pay attention to all these data. They have a role to play in the financial market.
So it seems like a lot of information and a lot of things happening. How can one prepare for the impact of these things?
Now, when you want to talk about being prepared for these unforeseen circumstances or to be better financially positioned, so you don't really go with the trend of what is happening is really affecting me, is biting hard and all that. One, you need to learn new skill. You need to learn new skill. And what a way to learn a new skill, if not by trading in the world's largest market, okay? You need to be better financially positioned so you can meet your ends, you can make ends meet, so to say. You need to learn new skill. Another thing is that you need to work smart and not just hard. Yes, you need to work smart and not hard. People need to understand that times are gone when you depend on one source of income. There is something called diversification. You need to diversify. You need to have multiple streams of income. There is nothing bad in you doing 2 or 3 things at a particular time and getting paid for it. Learn new skill. What new skill are we talking about? Learn how to trade on the world's largest market with Hantech Market. A broker that has been in the industry for over 33 years is not just a newbie, is a market leader in this aspect. So you learn how to trade on the world's largest market. You work smart and not just hard. Then you need to understand that as it is right now, cash is king. Yes, cash is, as of January, when the central bank governor then introduced the cashless policy, or should I say the Naira redesign, yes, Naira swap. A lot of people had issues coping with that. Why? Because they were not properly prepared. A lot of people didn't people who do business don't really accept transfers. They tell you that they have glitches with the bank, sending money and all that. Now the truth is that when you're going to shop with your card, you buy things, even things you don't really need. You just buy them because they just appear appealing to you. You buy them. But when you have cash at hand, you be mindful of the particular things you're buying. So it is important to know that you need to maximize the cash you have at hand, not just paying with your credit card or what have you. Because if you walk into a shopping mall, you want to buy everything. That's the truth. Because it's just your card you slot in and you get the debit every day. You just get the debit. You don't really, at that particular time, you're just living your kind of life you want to live. But when you go back home, you begin to see, I bought this. Do I really need this? Okay. Do I really need that? So understand the importance of cash. Cash is king. Try and manage with the little you have. Okay. Yes, manage with the little you have. That is why we are telling you, come, let us teach you how to manage these things properly. Don't forget that tomorrow being Friday, Hantech will be organizing a one-day seminar here in Port Harcourt, and the venue is at 26 Abba Road. And now for those people listening to me will be wondering, where is 26 Abba Road? 26 Abba Road is just after the CFC overhead bridge. Okay. After the CFC overhead bridge, there's an NNPC fuel station after the CFC overhead bridge. Now that our building is directly...
That's if you're coming from Garrison.
If you're coming from Garrison, exactly. After the CFC overhead bridge, you just meet the NNPC fuel station. Directly opposite the NNPC fuel station, that is 26 Abba Road, and that is where Hantech office is. And this seminar is coming up tomorrow by 11 a.m. 11 a.m. And if you want to be part of the program, all you need to do is to get your phone right now. You text the code TFM space your name space PH and you send it to the phone number 08056905612. I'll take that again. Get your phone, text the code TFM space. If your name is James, you put James, space, you put PH, and you send it to the phone number 08056905612. Now, if you're coming for this program, please, if you're coming for this program, endeavor to come with any government issued identity card, such as national identity card, voter's card, driver's license, or international passport. I didn't say you should come with the 4 of them. Just one of them will do. Endeavor to come with one of them. We want to know the people we are dealing with. We want to know the people that are coming for this program as a means of, let's say, call it our KYC, know your clients. We want to know you. So come with any government issued identity card.
Talk about the seminar details, venue and time. You mentioned a venue.
Yes.
What time?
The venue is 26 Aba Road, directly opposite the NNPC fuel station after the CFC bus stop. And the time is 11 a.m. 11 a.m. Yes, that's the time. And I said if you want to be part of the program, that you should text the code TFM. That's for today's FM. Space your name, space PH. Then you send it to the phone number 08056905612.
Okay. So what are the types of training expected to happen there?
Now, for this particular seminar, we are just exposing people on what the financial market is, who are those people who participate in the financial market, what moves the financial market, what are the requirements for you to trade on the financial market, are you eligible to trade in the financial market? I will expose you to other informations that are regarding the financial market. Now, we don't just stop there. At the end of the program, we also have our classes which will be coming up from Monday for those people who are interested to actually learn. We'll have the beginners class where we teach you the introduction to FS. We have the intermediate class where we'll teach you about strategies on how to trade on the financial market, and we also have the advanced class where we expose you to all the strategy on how to become a profitable trader. You know, like I said, everything in forex ends up in buying and selling. Now the question is, why do people lose money in FX? Why do people lose money in FX? You don't just trade currencies only. There are a whole lot of things you could trade, such as precious metals like gold, silver, like indices, like stocks, like US oil. Now, the reason why people lose money in FX is this: you are either selling something you're supposed to be buying, or you're buying something you're supposed to be selling. This is the reason why people lose money when it comes to financial trading.
So what makes Hantech markets different from the others?
Of course. Now, what makes Hantech different? Hantech has been in business for over 33 years, like I said. That's one. Hantech has robust regulations. That is two. Hantech gives out free lectures to all interested participants. That is three. Hantech is not limited to only getting people to do business. Hantech mentor people to become successful traders. Now, Hantech also give out free webinars. Hantech organizes free webinars. Time to time, we organize free webinars, and at the end of the day, all those people who are interested, we want to also give them the liberty of having the recorded versions of this webinar. You know, so people tell you that because of the nature of my job, I don't really have the time, I don't really have this. That's no problem. Hantech has you covered. All we need to do, get your contact and send you the recorded version of the webinar. Now, at the comfort of your home, you can go through it. You can maybe after dinner, you can just sit back in your couch and go through what was taught on the webinar, and you have the information. In this time and age, you can access information from anywhere in the world. So that's why Hantech market is different.
So just before we go, tell us about the seminar happening tomorrow.
Okay.
The things people need to do.
Okay.
And what is expected of them for them to attend
the seminar. Okay, beautiful. Now the seminar is coming up tomorrow, and the time is 11 a.m. and the venue is 26 Aba Road. And where is 26 Aba Road? 26 Aba Road is just after the CFC overhead bridge, directly opposite the NNPC fuel station. Now, if you're listening to me and you want to come for this program, like I said, if you're coming, come with any government issued identity card, such as NIN, voter's card, driver's license, or international passport. Just one of them. Now, and if you want to be part, all you need to do, get us your details so that we can reserve a seat for you, and you can do that by testing this code TFM space your name space PH, and you send it to the phone number 08056905612. I'll take that again. Text the code TFM space your name space PH, and you send it to the phone number 08056905612.
All right. Do you have a final word before we go?
Yes, in people's life, nothing changes until they make a change. Now, for you to make a change, there has to be a shift in status quo. You have to drop what you think was if what you've been doing was not working for you. This is time for you to do something new and get paid for it. At the end of the day, you have nothing to lose at all.
Thank you one more time for dropping by this morning.
Thank you for having me.
All right, stay with us. We'll continue with our review of the papers in a bit. Go nowhere.
Talk radio. I listen to a lot of talk radio.
95.1 FM.
All right, thank you for staying with us. We continue our review on the newspaper review segment. Time check in our studios now, 9:22 a.m. 9:22 a.m. We'll go straight to opinion poll. We'll begin with an editorial from the Punch newspaper this morning, and then we'll look at some of the other issues as well on the opinion poll segment. Remember, from 10, we entertain commentaries from you on the stories so far. We'll entertain those commentaries. The myth of suffer now, enjoy later. The myth of suffer now, enjoy later. A piece on the Punch newspaper. That's one of our stories for opinion poll. It's quite a long one, so I'm just going to read in and out for some of the key aspects in this editorial, and we'll just dive into it. It appears from the title, describing what we hear. We need to make the necessary sacrifice today so that we can enjoy tomorrow. We hear this a lot. Presidents over time would re-echo this over and over when they want to put out a policy. We were told the same thing when they did the redesign of some of our currencies and said, oh, it's only temporary pain. It's not going to last forever. The joys of this, all of us will benefit from. I still have it in my head when I annoyingly used to listen to Emefiele say those words. Don't worry, Nigerians, you'll be proud of this. This is for our best interest, and so on and so forth. That's what this editorial tries to chronicle. The myth of suffer now, enjoy later. This time, 8 years ago, Nigerians were still basking in the euphoria of having a Martinez president, began to ascribe all kinds of wonderful happenstances to his body language. So excited were the supporters of former President Muhammadu Buhari about the country's potential under him that they attributed some magicality to otherwise routine happenings. Civil servants resumed work 8 a.m. as expected of them. It was Buhari's body language that motivated them to their newfound sense of responsibility. Did the electricity company supply power for 18 hours a day instead of their habitual 6 hours? Yes, that must have been Buhari's body language generating more megawatts. You somehow managed to drive through Lagos without your entire day expended in the soul-crushing traffic, thanks to Buhari's body language. Hallelujah. While it lasted, Buhari's body was like the shadow of Apostle Paul in the Bible. It was said to cure the sick. So great was the illusion that the president's mere body language can change the norms of a beleaguered nation. And some clowns even campaigned that Buhari should be allowed to suspend the constitution just so that the constraints of democratic principles would not incommute his supposed quest to give Nigeria the much-needed moral renewal. Looking back at the abuse of power that characterized his tenure, one cannot but be grateful to those who never mortgaged their common sense to give Buhari any freer hand to operate. Imagine yielding to the shoddy thinking that reduced the creativity of leadership to the mystic of body language instead of the rational process of policy making, outcomes assessments, and regular revisions. Now, bringing up this recent past is to remind us that at the inaugural phase of a leadership era, people generally get frenzied on their expectations of a new beginning, that every whiff of air that passes under their nostrils is taken as a fresh breath. For instance, it's only 3 weeks now in a new era. Nobody has yet seen any material impact of his policies on anyone's lives, but some brown noses are already declaring Bola Tinubu as the best president Nigeria has ever had. Like Buhari's body language, another leader whose aura will solve problems is being defied. Let me jump from there. We'll look at some of within the same block of time. They've also announced the removal of subsidies. Some of the policies so far, removal of subsidies on electricity tariff, and their plans to introduce the VAT on diesel. All these supposed harsh measures are coming in the wake of Nigerian survival of Buhari's nightmarish years, including a misconceived naira redesign policy that declined their purchasing power. Tinubu also signed the student loan bill, an indication that the cost of post-secondary education will shoot up. And who knows what is next? Is it that the government considers the patience of the impoverished infinitely elastic, or there is a deliberate tactic to push people off the edge? So we've heard versions of suffer now, enjoy later. Under Buhari too, we truly suffered, yes, but did anyone eventually enjoy the promised benefits? Some of the Buhari policies were told to quietly swallow so that everything good could come were ultimately reversed when they failed their mission. Those ideas that were vociferously defended by, I suppose, analysts who insisted we have had it too good for so long had to be eventually dissolved without achieving much. We should not have to go through that all over again within the same period too. Nigerians like to talk so much about how we do not learn from our history because the history curriculum has been withdrawn from schools. Yet, we have customarily repeated the same history that unfolded before our very own eyes. Just part of what I can take from the piece from the Punch newspaper. But the summary is what it is. They will say this is good for us. But it seemed that the end, we usually do not get to that great end. And then we go through that circle over and over and over again. Mr. Dokubo, should we be suffering and smiling, or we should be suffering and protesting violently?
Violently? No, I wouldn't subscribe to
maybe the North Africa model. Those ones they don't smile. Once it pinches them, they go to the street straight.
No. Much as I continue to insist that leaders should have a heart for the people, I do not think that the best thing is to take up arms or go up arming globes with the authorities. I don't think that's the best way to go. But there are ways of expressing your discontent that would not necessarily have to go down to using violence. As long as you do not employ violence, there are so many other ways of doing it. Incidentally, in Nigeria, I do not know how they did it, but they killed the labor movement. That was one way of...
That's how the Buhari government did it.
Government,
because they were quite the labor movement in the Jonathan administration.
Yeah, they did. We saw a bit of them. That was when the decline started for me. And then people that were looked upon as conscience of the nation, people who others would look at and say, yes, these people are not in government, that they probably do not have so much direct benefit what they are getting engaged in and all that. They came out. In those days, we saw people like Professor Ole Soyinka coming out. And when you see people like that taking up a kind of in a kind of protest, then you want to think this may be altruistic after all. And then we saw some clergy, even people like the Lateran Assemblyman, Bakare, and all of these people coming out. There's so much of it, and it was like truly these people meant well for the nation. But incidentally, today Shoyinka doesn't appear to be speaking the same way he used to speak, because now he's asking for understanding. I don't know. Bakare has lost his sponge. I haven't gotten into whatever they gotten into politics itself, and then gotten badly beaten. He's lost his sponge. And others appear to be, who should be talking, appear to be afraid. Except for Matthew Kuka, who will still say it as it is, and then stand there to receive whatever you have to give him and move on. We are having less and less people actually getting interested and speaking out. Less and less people of integrity, at least some level of integrity that people can still look at and say, yes, these people would not be looking for their own selfish interest in speaking out or in coming out to doing what they're doing. But so that is the situation that we'll find out. Why it is so, my dear, it's difficult for me to tell how government is able to get people around to completely do this, emasculate the people, and then everybody is for labor. Well, again, we over time raised, unfortunately, leaders who were more of how much they would make out of the positions they held than how much benefit they could get to their members. So here we are. It's a very sorry situation. How people will be able to mobilize Nigerians to actually stand up to say, look, this is we can't take this. It's so difficult to come by these days. I don't know how that is going to happen, because like I said, when you see groups who already organized groups who could have done it, the civil society and all of that, today infiltrated by so many charlatans, too many persons who really truly they mouth something else but have something else in their heart, and therefore mercantile, I mean, they are there for, what is it, traders, as it were, merchants. So many persons doing what they're doing just to get about it. Incidentally, even when you say civil society advocate, there are advocates, people who truly who made their voices count, who had very strong positions about the suffering of the people, and then government, we didn't know. I'm sorry to mention someone like Amo, before he got into politics, was somebody, a lot of people said, oh, this one is vibrant, he's coming up and all that. And the moment he crossed over, wallahi, everybody just, nobody knew what happened. I hate Nigerians, and then everybody completely lost it. So at the moment, Nigerians are also weary because of how much they have been deceived. Okay. Anybody who probably truly means well comes out to tell, they are looking at you, is this one not another one? Has it come to deceive us? And then they're so weary to jump in with you, because at the end of the day it will look like you ride on their back to get to where you walked in, and you sell them, and then they are gone. So a lot of despondency in the environment, in the system, and then people just are getting by. Okay. So the politicians are just hacking it. I mean, latching on that and making brisk business of the people's whatever, and they're going. It's unfortunate where we are in Nigeria. Right. I do not know, as people say, we'll continue to pray. Let's get the kind of leaders that will truly have the love of the people at heart. But if you say suffer today, we have suffered enough. Nobody is seeing anything. And now in this one, it's like it's even endless. How much can you probably, even if you give the 200,000 that everybody is asking for, will it really cover for? Will it really be sufficient for the kind of things that we're seeing, one after another.
What's even the percentage that constitute labor? Just suppose that to our population.
So at the end of
if you give to labor, yes, there's a ripple, but you still have majority of persons that are scrambling, grappling with the difficulties with some of those policies on a daily.
It's for the electricity thing. In fact, everything is just you are taking and taking, removing and
that's
removing.
The rumored 40% hike in electricity tariff.
Is it a rumor now?
I call it a rumor because I'm not seeing it in any official communication.
Okay. But
I still haven't seen it in any.
July 1 is around the corner now.
I still haven't seen it in any official communication. Mr. Ndukwe, the myth of suffer now, celebrate or enjoy tomorrow. Like Mr. Dokubo mentioned, the case of promise and fail over time could make people become so rejecting of anything that even if the intentions were really good, because you have to test some of these policies out for a long time to confirm. Clearly it has been failure of government, but can we say that those policies in and of themselves were not good, or that government just lacked the will to follow them through?
Well, it's a very difficult thing to be specific on all these things, but based on this particular article, I will simply say that even the writer knows that there is no tomorrow that one will enjoy later. There's none. Because the way I'm seeing the leadership of Nigeria come up and the way they behave, see, there's something they call it local balance, initial gragra. Yes. You remember since Tinubu started, and I have avoided a trap of is Tinubu going in the right way? I will tell you, if you remember, that it's too early to judge.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I did in Buhari administration. When he came, on the day he was sworn in, I think that there's one particular quote he made. It belongs to
everybody and to nobody.
Of course, if you analyze that totally, it means he belonged to nobody, absolutely. Because when you say you belong to everybody, what have I seen you behave? In your behavioral exhibition, did you show me that you belong to Emmanuel Ndukwe also, who is part of the citizens of this country? You are also the president of Nigeria, and Emmanuel Ndukwe is a citizen. The same way Tinubu has come up. Remember Buhari's own. I just want to take them, analyze the reasonableness of this particular article. See, as at that time Buhari came, he said, was it Buratai or whoever that they should relocate to
Borno State.
Borno State.
He also told the then Inspector General of Police to relocate to Benue State.
Good. And the Inspector General of Police, it was only when Buhari himself went to Benue that we knew that the communication was not very much open. Because he told us that he didn't know he had not come there. Kelly, this is somebody who has the power. But he said that he didn't know. The same comment he made about whether Zamfara State were about bandits and all that, he didn't know it was that to that extent. Kelly, when he arrived, just give me a little time so that I'll come back to Tinubu. When he arrived, he gave he didn't talk to anybody, the civil servants, he didn't talk to them, but they started handling their responsibility. We're going to work by 8 a.m. and all that. Even the EFCC, that seemed to be maybe government man Friday, that will do all what government wants, it revived itself. Buhari did not say a word to them. They started this and that. But eventually, when they found out that the Buhari of 1984 was not that particular Buhari of 2015, all of them went back to their shells and started doing the way they choose. Now Tinubu has come. I think some people are calling him Hurricane Tinubu or whatever. Then I keep on asking them, what has he done that should give him Hurricane Tinubu? See, he has fired the service chiefs. And when I think there was a question that was thrown to me here, I said it was very much certain. We're expecting that the service chiefs will be removed.
Mm-hmm.
But That has not solved the problem. If you remove the service chiefs and you do not put fire as it were on them, they will be there. The bandits are not in Abuja.
Which is the will of government to do the right thing.
The will of the president. No, I don't want to say government here. The will of the president to make sure he gives instruction and policies the instruction. Now, he has also fired the EFCC chairman and others. So far, he has done. On the day he was sworn in, his own quote was removal of subsidy. The way Buhari said relocation to Borno State, and of course belonging to everybody, not anybody. Tinubu's own is the removal of subsidy. That subsidy had gone and talked everything. Labour even came out because during Buhari, Labour was there though. Yes, it was under Ayuba Awaba, who will see glaring injustice and all that and then make promise, but you will not see action. And eventually government will now pocket the whole thing and say that there's no intervention from any organized labor and all that. The whole thing will die. Right now, Labour want to show that there's a new sheriff, as we have a new sheriff also as president. We also have Joe Ajero, and they tried to do anything. Bang, the industrial court. And they have been caged into their kitchens. There's nothing they can do. If you remember, there was a consolidation on that first one that they gave.
Because the matter is still ongoing.
Thank you very much.
So ASU just came to court to be heard, while the matter is also still being interrogated, looked into by the court.
So what I'm saying is that, this particular piece is a very eye-opening piece, which shows that if Nigerians were learning lessons, we would indeed learn our lesson now and know that in my place they said that the first, let's say a market, you are a trader, that early morning sales does not detect how sales will go that day. Tinubu is doing his hurricane and all that. Now, is he going to sustain that hurricane? Or will Nigerians, because like Abaka was saying, a lot of Nigerians spoke. As it stands now, I don't know where Sonika is. If you ask me, he was a man I was respecting a lot.
But he hasn't kept quiet.
No, you see.
He's not protesting like they did, but he has not kept quiet, not for once.
Kelly, you see, talking is not the issue. There's a way Sonika was doing, even during the military. You know that he stands against these particular things that these people are doing, whether military or civilian.
What would you have preferred him to do?
I'm coming now. I raised it. What I'm saying is that he's saying about what I'm just hearing Sonika for now doing is maybe whether he has war with obedient people or not, I don't know. Obedient people this, obedient people that. But I expect him as an elder statesman to speak certain things that are right in terms of being specific and say, you obedient people, you have done this one, it's wrong. If you have done it this way, the way I know Sonika before, if you had done it this way, it would have been better.
Okay.
But right now, it's just like carpeting the obedient people and all that. Everybody must have his own choice. So that's one thing. If you do not allow people to exercise their own right, stamping them down, no, you will not benefit, because see, there is no single human in the entire earth that has monopoly of wisdom.
All right.
Only God has. So what we are saying is that the meat of suffering and then enjoying later. In Nigeria, I have not seen that later.
Okay.
So, except government changes its way of handling issues.
Okay. So, except government changes its way of handling issues, which is the key thing, a policy could be good. A policy on the surface of it, it could be good. The immediate impact of it could be very hard on the people. Subsidy is one. I still don't understand it. Why the government, rather than remove subsidy, or rather than investigate and find out the corrupt element in subsidy and begin to prosecute, the government decided it was best to remove subsidy, and they removed it. We are dealing with the effect on a daily. Then the report of a proposed 114% increase in salaries for those in those offices at the moment by the Revenue Mobilization and So-called Commission. When you have that on one hand, and then you have under policy that a lot of persons, business owners are celebrating, especially foreign investors, the unification of the currency with scrapping multiple exchange rates, that is also being celebrated. So, is it because of the fact that Nigerians have totally lost faith with their government? That's why it will seem as though every policy is intended to kill us, because we do not see the end of that policy from where we stand, because of the current suffering that the government has, by their action, enabled. Mr. Dokubo.
Clearly, I don't want to even understand your question now. Do you know that you just read it in your news? Pure water, people.
That's the immediate impact of the fuel subsidy removal.
Pure water has gone up.
Yes.
Every other thing.
A bag is now, I think, 300 naira.
As these things are happening, 1 naira has not been added to anybody's salary. And so since this so-called subsidy removal or whatever, things have go to the taxi where you drop, how much fuel you buy. I was just telling him, when they say, fuel consumption has dropped, I say they should wait first too. That drastic drop that is, I know, yes, I can say, well, before the figure may have been quite high there, up there, but then to say that it dropped from 60 something to 13, you should be careful. I buy fuel. I used to buy fuel. On a daily basis. I could say, okay, I go there, give me 10 liters, let me go out. When this thing happened, I used to go out 5 days in a week. I cut it down to probably 2. If I could go out, I could put some fuel in my car and have 1 or 2, 3 places to be, and say, okay, for today, maybe 5,000 will do for me to just run around these places. When the thing hit me and I found out that the same quantity of fuel I used to buy at 5,000 is now 30,000. Somebody advised me to tell me that, so no need to go all these ones. A lot of opportunity, a lot of things will have to suffer.
Opportunity cost.
So I had to. In my house, I used to probably burn my gen for maybe 4 hours in a day. When this one happened, I dropped it 1. But that would mean that I will have to deprive myself of a lot of other things.
That's the suffer now.
So when they say this thing dropped, see, the drop is not mainly because of this one that they are not ferrying this fuel outside, this is the real consumption. It's not true. Nigerians have had to tighten their belts and ask themselves over and over, and are suffering a lot, putting themselves under a lot of terrible conditions to just get at what they think is the real consumption. Who said so? There are shops who used to open until 10 o'clock.
Okay.
At 7 they closed.
So if over time, if what the government has promised, all prices will drop, we're looking at alternatives. If over time the promises check out and we see a reduction in the pump price of petrol, would we say that the policy?
They have not even told you that one. So don't.
No, but that's what they're saying. That's what they're saying.
Pump prices will drop.
They say pump prices will drop. That once there's competition in the system, price will drop.
See, you don't competition in the system.
You don't have confidence. You don't have confidence. Hence, it being mythical that you suffer now.
It's mythical now. It's there now. Are we not Nigerians? Have we not been in this system for this long?
Let me introduce.
Let them not tell us that one. It's not there.
Dr. Emmanuel, I was rehearsing this name just now.
Iroy Nama.
Okay, Iroy Nama. Okay, Dr. Emmanuel. Forgive me, I have to get used to the name. Dr. Emmanuel Iroy Nama, chartered arbitrator, mediator, management consultant, and socio-economic commentator. Good morning, Chief. Welcome.
Good morning.
Okay, so we're reading and taking a bite at editorial by the Punch newspaper. Myth, suffer now, rejoice later. It seems a story of Nigerians and Nigeria, really. Successive governments will come, make promises. This policy is good for us. Endure now. In the near future, we'll begin to smile. Most of the time, could it be that the government was not tenacious in holding on to that policy until the outcome for us to see that this indeed is good for us, or that the policies in and of themselves were just empty? Could that be what the problem has been?
First, let's look at what a policy is and then how policies are driven. Policies are not one-way things. There are initiators of policies, there are parties that policies affect, and how there's a policy initiated, there's a policy implemented, and there are persons who these policies affect. Each of these parties respond or react to the policy in different ways, hence the outcomes. I'll take you slightly back and I'll tell you something very interesting. In 2014, we had a political party that came out with a mantra, and the mantra was change. People belong to that party. A lot of persons got into that party, given where the then PDP had supposedly taken the country to. But the question was, did all the persons, or a reasonable number of the persons that got into that party, understand the concept of change? Or did they just hear a new shout and merely jump into it? A few of us initiated some programs where we thought that we could take time before then to begin to let persons understand what is actually meant by business. It will no longer be business as usual. And what we thought we would be doing will have been looking at what we claimed were bad.
Okay.
Vis-a-vis where the things we think will be good.
That's a change.
That's what's supposed to be a change. Because if you say, this is bad, if you're changing, it means you already have a picture of what is good. Now, what are those things that were bad? Part of the things that were bad then were that people without working were making millions of money without working. All you need is to get close to government, secure an appointment, there'll be free money, or get close to somebody who had been appointed. These are things that drag the economy or drag the country to where it is, kind of. And so if you had come with a change, the meaning will be that everybody who is championing, and the majority of the persons who claim to be championing this change will understand that for them to make money like others had made money, they wouldn't need to just be in government to make free money.
They must be doing something.
They must be doing something too. It wouldn't be, I award a contract to Apaka because Apaka is my friend, and I tell him go and look for 10-kilometer road, and then he comes back with a paper of 10-kilometer road. He won't do it. We'll just use the paper to stamp, and then we'll give him money for 10-kilometer road. That was the kind of thing.
And on finding out, you do nothing about it too.
Of course, what are you doing? That's what you're what is finding out? You know. A priori, you know that this is what will happen. What are you going to find as Mr. Trouble? You're not finding out anything now. That is what was planned. It was planned. Okay, go and get something. Let's do document. What they actually do is documentation. Let's do documentation. And it is signed off. Now, what did you find? you found a set of people who said they were going for a change and they came in, and they merely, what they saw as change for most of them was merely change in baton. Their turn dumb pass. Now our turn. That was the change. And so if you push it, the results, the expected results for change will never be found. It will remain myths. It's a common sense thing. It will remain myths.
So it wasn't really the problem.
It wasn't really
with
the proponent of change. It wasn't really a problem with the change thinker, if you like.
But the drivers.
How the persons that came in, how are you on board? Look, governance is a whole lot of things that we need to understand. And I keep saying one thing. Our elementary chair of government says that it is government is the people. A lot of times we say government is not an isolated thing. Government is the people. Yes, you could have people you have elected or selected, whichever language you want to use, to keep in front. But the real truth, if people need to, because there won't be government without governance and or governed. So if we understand all of that concept, then it means that everybody has a critical role to play in the success of any policy. Now let's get back to where we are. We hear governments. I have argued that part of the greatest confusion in this country is the fact that we claim to run what we call a mixed economy. So at one end, we want to be a socialist where we do a whole lot of subsidy thing. At the other end, we want to be a typical capitalist where we allow the forces of demand and supply to dictate what happens. Confusion, if you ask me. In the 70s, when we started enjoying a whole lot of these so-called subsidies, I have always said one problem that one gentleman would help destroy our economy in this country is General Yakubu Gowon. And of course, in his time in office, one of the biggest concepts he brought was the fact that our problem as a nation was not how to make money, but how to spend money. And so he introduced the kind of problems we are suffering till today on compensation and benefits, where so much money started pursuing little or no good. And we've suffered it all that till today. With each successive government seeing it quite well. Because all of them, if you go and listen to virtually all the speeches of all successive government, you will find out that they actually know the truth. They know it because they will mention it. That is the problems we have. But how to go about it has become a very serious thing. Okay. Now, when you compound these problems over time, and a decision like this kind of one Tinubu is taking, bam, happens, the impact will be super heavy. People are not trained to understand that there are, Opaka said, if he needed to go out before now to 5 places, now he has to do some serious thinking. Yes, that's part of the challenge. You need to actually do some serious thinking.
Immediate impact of that policy.
Yes. In Europe, for instance, how many of us will live lives like this? How many of us will build a house that will not give us some form of light in the daytime?
A managing power.
Yes. But you do it here because it's almost a given before now. I can assure you, if what is happening in the power sector continues, even your system here will begin to ask for alternative energy. What else do we do? Is it a problem of design of this building? Can we redesign this building so that we'll get some level of straight air?
I'll plead with you to just hold your thoughts. We'll have to go for the news update. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation. We'll pay some bills afterward. We'll continue with this. Look at another story on opinion poll. Hopefully we can touch on the story for Real Talk, and then we'll have you join the conversation as well. Stay with us.
This is Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt, voice of the people. Every day, every hour, when the big stories break, depend on our 24-hour news team to bring you the latest. Today 95.1 FM.
Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. News update.
A very good morning to you. Here is the news update on Today 95.1 FM. I am Kelly Ikemenjima. President Bola Tinubu has arrived at the Halle Brungnate in Paris, the venue of the new Global Financing Pact Summit. Upon his arrival in the company of his aide-de-camp, Nuruddin Yusuf, President Tinubu was received by the French Minister of Foreign Affairs and Europe, Kathleen Colonna. Having departed Abuja for France on Tuesday, President Tinubu will also use the opportunity of the summit to hold bilateral meetings with various countries, including officials of France, US, Switzerland, to discuss possible ways of attracting foreign investment to the country. About 39 heads of state from around the world are expected to be part of the summit. Also expected to be in attendance are several multilateral development banks, including the World Bank, Africa Development Bank, European Bank, African Union, and the United Nations. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has warned content creators, movie and skit producers against unauthorized use of its branded jackets, symbols, insignia, and other items. In a statement by its head of media and publicity, Wilson Ojari, the commission noted that the use of the EFCC brand in movies without authorization is illegal. Ojari said the commission appreciates the desire of producers to create content with plot around the EFCC, but said it is important that they get authorization from the commission, including vetting of scenes. The commission also warned that anyone found acting contrary to its advisory shall henceforth be treated as an impersonator and dealt with accordingly. The British High Commissioner to Nigeria, Richard Montgomery, says the decision of the United Kingdom restricting foreign students from bringing dependents with them starting in 2024 is not targeted at Nigerians. Rather, it is to protect the UK infrastructure, as a number of citizens of students bringing their family members from all around the world surged in the last couple of years. The British High Commissioner stated this after he met with Vice President Kashim Shettima at the State House in Abuja. Montgomery admitted that the number of Nigerian students coming to the UK increased fivefold in 3 years, just as the overall number of international students also increased. In May, the UK Home Office said it will restrict foreign students from bringing family members with them effective 2024 to stop people from using the student visa as a backdoor channel to work in the UK. On the foreign scene, at least 31 persons have been killed and 7 injured following the explosion of a gas cylinder at a barbecue restaurant in northwestern China. Reports said the blast tore through the restaurant as people gathered to celebrate a 3-day holiday for the Dragon Boat Festival. The report also said 9 persons, including the owner of the restaurant, shareholders, and staff, were arrested by the police, who also announced that their assets have been frozen. Accidents due to gas and chemical blasts are not uncommon in China, despite years of attempts to improve safety. And that's the news update on Today 95.1 FM. I am Kelly Ikemenjima. Good morning, and thank you for your time.
Talk radio. I listen to a lot of talk radio.
95.1 FM.
Did you know that there are over 8 million listeners connected to our frequency, covering 6 states across 2 geopolitical zones? Take advantage of our reach and advertise your products, services, events, and businesses on Today 95.1 FM. Get value for your money as millions of people get to know about your business. Give us a call now on 0818-389-2850. Again, 0818-389-2850.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
Okay, alright. All you need to know about this one is that
95.1 FM? Search for your next dial.
All right, we have another guest in the studio from African Town Land and Properties. Good morning to you, sir. Welcome.
Good morning to you, sir.
All right, so tell us your name. You're usually here, and we know you're the brand ambassador because I can see you, but those listening may not know. So introduce yourself, please.
Okay, comedian PC, the brand ambassador to Africa Town
in Port Harcourt.
So tell us about African Town.
Okay, African Town is a global city that we've created in Port Harcourt here in Rivers State for everyone to come and live, more especially the Africans. So it's a beautiful place to enjoy the beautiful nature of Africa. So we have areas that we've parted out. We have South Africa in African Town, we have Nigeria in African Town, we have Namibia and all other African nations in African Town. So currently we're on promo. We are giving out a plot of land in African Town for as low as 399,000.
Okay.
As against 800,000 there.
How long is the promo running for?
It's ending, I think it's going to be on 30th of this month.
Okay.
The last day of this month, the promo is ending. So, it was to end last week. We had to extend it because we decided to consider some persons who are salary earners. And so the promo is ending this month.
Okay, promo ends this month.
Yeah.
Where is the land located?
Okay, we have over 2,000 plots of land at Omagwa. Omagwa is at Ikwere local government.
Okay.
If you know Omagwa too well, there's a community known as Imogu. They have vast land there, so we acquired 2,000 plots from them. And from Omagwa Junction to the site is 5 minutes drive. Now from the international airport to the site where you can find the African Town is just 10 minutes drive from international airport down to the site.
Okay.
Yeah. So our office is at Emmanuel Plaza, number 47 Emmanuel Plaza. That is where you find us.
All right. How about phone numbers for people that want to get across to you?
Now our phone numbers, we have 2 numbers. We're also on the internet. You can find us on Facebook at Africa Town Port Harcourt. We are on Facebook. You can also find us at www.africantown.com. Then you can reach us through 070 66 74 3297 070 66 74 3297 or 070 11 74 3262 070 11 74 3262.
Okay.
And there's this new brand we just introduced known as the new Alaba International Market.
Okay.
Right inside the African Town. And the new Alaba International Market is a place we had to part out so that we can give room for businessmen and businesswomen. So we have space that you can buy and build lock-up shops, plazas, and more.
Okay, so if someone comes to buy from that space that's been reserved for the Alaba market, the only structures that can be developed there will be market
structures, just malls, plaza, and lock-up shops.
Okay, and even at those areas, it's still selling at the discount rate.
For now, 399,000.
For now, for a plot.
399,000 for a plot.
For a plot.
Yes.
Okay. So, how long have you been in business?
We've been in business for 4 years.
Okay.
And we're going to 5 years now. We've been in business for 4 years. Our head office is at Ibadan.
Why should people trust Africa Town?
We are real. When I mean we are real in the sense that when we say we are going to give you a plot of land for 399,000, we will do that. No additional fee. We are not adding anything. You're not paying anyone. You're not seeing anyone. As once you give us that money, we'll give you a deed of covenants. We hand over your land to you. Your land will be allocated to you straight. And we have visitation time from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day. We'll take you to the site for free.
Okay.
You are not paying anything. You are not filling form for payment. No money for anything. Everything is free except the money for the land.
On payment or after payment, what documents would the owners receive?
Any money you give, we issue you a receipt. By the time you're done paying, we hand over the deed of covenants to you.
Okay.
And we allocate your land to you straight.
Immediately,
no argument. Then you can start building. It's a dry, portable land. good for everyone to develop.
Okay.
And we are doing this thing. We want to make sure that everyone in Rivers State, in Nigeria, in Africa, become a landlord.
Okay. So, payment plan.
Okay, we have payment plan for those persons who probably cannot go for the straight upright payment. We have payment plans of 100,000. That's the minimum we accept. Then we can spread it for 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you give us 100,000 for a plot of land, we issue a receipt. Then in space of 3 months, when you make your final payment, we hand over your document to you and locate your property to you instantly.
Okay. So permit me to recall some of our previous conversations.
Okay.
The issue of a restriction for those that pay installment. That's the 100,000. There's also the offer of pay for 5.
If you
get
pay
one
for
free.
5, we will give you one for free. If you pay 5, you are getting one plot free.
But if you're paying, if you are doing the installment payment, you will not be eligible to get.
You know, there are some things when you come to the office, we can explain better to you.
Okay.
You know, sometimes if we try to explain you on air, they may not get it well. So that is why it's advisable. Come to the office. There are some themes of the real estate agents at the office, the African town real estate agent, they are at the office, the workers are there. Come to the office, you meet us, they will sit with you, they will explain better.
Okay.
And so that you get to know about us well. So if you want to understand about African town property, if you can't get the full understanding here on radio, come to the office. We are there to talk to you to see how we can help you.
Okay, so what's your address and
so
phone numbers?
We are Omagwa Plaza, Omagwa by Emmanuel Plaza, Omagwa Junction, Owerri Road, Emmanuel Plaza, number 47 Emmanuel Plaza. You can call us on 070-6674-3297, 070-6674-3297, or 070-1174-3262, 070-1174-3262. Come to the office.
The person that makes payment with the installment plan, when do they take possession of the land?
When you are done paying.
When they are done paying.
Yes.
What if someone pays just on the 29th of June for installment plan? The person still benefits?
Yeah, of course, you still fall under the promo season.
So if you complete that payment in August,
it's still fine. It's okay. As far as you participate now.
Okay,
that is why we are. The truth is that it's too true to believe that what we are doing is real. You get it. But what we are doing is really in the sense that when you don't pay, we hand over your document to you, allocate your land to you. As I speak to you today, we are allocating land to people.
Okay.
So you can come see things for yourself. It's real. It's not a joke. It's real.
So people can come see before they make payments, yes?
We will take you to site for inspection. It's free. We have vehicle that will take you to site for inspection. It's free. Then you inspect. You won't pay anything. Then if you are pleased with it, but I believe anyone that sees it, definitely will go for it.
All right, before we go, your phone numbers and physical address again.
Now, the address is at Omagwa. Omagwa is located at Ikwere local government. Omagwa number 47 Emmanuel Plaza. Number 47 Emmanuel Plaza. Then you can reach us through 070-6674-3297. 070-6674-3297 or 070-1174-3262. 070-1174-3262. At least to become tenants, don't need to tire you. This is the best time to be a landlord. Grab this opportunity. Who gets sense need to grab them now.
Thank you so much for dropping by.
Thank you, Kelly.
All right, stay with us. We continue with our program in a moment.
Talk radio. I listen to a lot of talk radio.
95.1 FM.
All right, we thank you so much for staying with us. Still today's question, Today 95.1 FM. We're looking at the editorial from the Punch newspaper. Suffer now, the myth of suffer now, enjoy later. That's what we've been talking about. We still have about 2 more stories to go, or even 3. Hopefully we can touch on 2 before we go between now and noon. All right, that should be the target. But let's introduce or welcome some of your contributions. Let's begin with social media at this time. Now 16 minutes past the hour of 10. Today, the 22nd of June, 2023. All right, I see some of your messages. Let me begin with the general post first. Take some of those reactions. Pastor IG is a comedian. Under his watch, extortion increased, high level of crime, protests, ban, highest intimidation, and killings. Cosmos Oyeneke, that's you reacting to former IGP statement on his performance in office. Okwando Bina says, FG confirms plans to increase Tinubu, Shatima, their salaries when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu promised to hit the ground running. If he's sworn in, I thought he meant well for Nigerians, only for fuel pump price to increase 100%, actually more than 100%. Prices of goods 200%, inflation 100%, exchange rate 50%, international flight has increased 70%, and our politician salary increased by 114%, while ordinary Nigerian is wallowing in abject poverty. God, who did we offend? Odinaka Chukwu Morris, good morning, Today FM. This country keeps on surprising us every day. The increment of salaries for politicians is not a good move, considering the hardship ordinary citizens are passing through now. And for the court case against the above, as long as judges are included in the case, you say it's a lost battle. Hector Christopher, I'm leaving Nigeria police better. Usman's statement, that's not true at all. Let's ask him what new things he did to transform the police. Is there any form of attitudinal change in the police system? Was able to stop the police from collecting offerings on the road? Well, big questions there. Amity Prince, High Court reserves ruling on Emefiele's bail application. Emefiele should remain until they conclude holistic investigation. Wow. Because this guy had used his office to unleash agony on Nigerians with his inhuman policies. Well, that's the way you feel. There's a principle of the rule of law. Danny Chooks Alose from D-Line, there's nothing new the IGP would say now that we haven't heard before. All I need now is action because a new sheriff is in town. And on that same border, they have been using it doing business. Kelly, don't mind anyone telling you that the border was closed. I know our people. Finally, harder and harder and harder has killed many. Please, men should do their best and leave the rest. Nicholas Erasmus, Kelly, good morning, and everyone in the studio. Tribunal, INEC, Tinubu kick as Peter Obi presents total PVCs. When I watch the activities at the tribunal and how INEC opposes documents, I laugh. The people who asked those who lost to go to court are the same people opposing documents from their domain. INEC is just being funny. I pray justice will be seen at the end of the day. All right, those are some of the comments from the general post. I want to go back to Dr. Emmanuel Irayanama, his comments, so that we can move on from there to... Was I close with the name?
Irayanama.
Was I close?
Slightly. The name is Irayanama.
Irayanama.
Very simple. Where is it from?
I'll get a hang of it. I'll get a hang of it.
Very careful. Iro, Aye, Nama, Iro.
Oh, that's easy.
Irayanama.
Maybe it's the way it's written. But we'll move on.
Okay.
That's the
so, you were trying to conclude.
Yes, as I said, look, before we do a typical analysis of a policy's success or failure, we need to understand the understanding of that policy by the entire parties. The parties to the policy implementation, the initiator, the implementer, and for whom that policy is for. To what extent do they understand that policy, and to what extent do they work around the policy for the policy's success? And that's a major problem we have in the country. And so in that circumstance, you will always find that the things that we thought we could get out of it, we will never get it. It is until everybody sinks, or majority of the person sink to understanding it. That's where you get any benefit from a policy. Virtually all the policies that have been marshaled in this country are good policies. They are actually meant for good of the people. But the problem we have is, how were those policies implemented? To what extent did those that these policies were meant for understand and or help the success of? When you design a policy and people are working at crossroad, of course that means that policy is dead even before arrival. And those are the biggest challenges we have. Now, take the so-called Emefele's. Till today, a lot of presidents still have different names for the so-called Emefele's.
Naira swap.
Some says Naira swap. Which the man came out to tell you it's not Naira swap. It's not swap. If it's swap, it means as you bring your Naira, old currency, you'll get
new one.
But that's not what the policy was.
No, that was what was initially said.
No, that's the confusion in the whole of interpretation, even the policy. And that's where a lot of us blame the MFL and the CBN.
Even from the the CBN, yes?
Yes, we blame them because they did not guide the people properly to understanding what they claim they wanted to drive. The man who says he wants to do a swap, for instance, is telling you that he wants to also retrieve money from the system so that there will be no much money. So how does swapping?
If he brings 10 million old currency, he should get 10 million.
That is what swapping should be.
That's swapping.
That's what swapping should be. But yet the man is telling you that, look, the purpose of this policy is to reduce money in circulation. We do not know really how much we have in the circulation. Money outside circulation is too much, pursuing no goods. These are the arguments that came. And so you ask yourself, is that really? So it's either it's a mopping, which was what we saw, it was money mopping, instead of cash mopping. Instead of
that's
cash swap. So what that policy was actually cash mopping.
Do we also, can we call that to be a policy somersault? When the government realizes that an initial policy not embraced by the people, they withdrew that policy and look for another way to reintroduce it. Because that's how the flow. First there was a cash withdrawal limit over the counter. The one of
which was more of the mopping thing.
Was it 500,000 for individual over the counter for a week, and then 5 million for corporate businesses? That was vehemently resisted. The federal government announced that they were going to withdraw it and review it. That was withdrawn and reviewed. Then the next thing they said was they were redesigning some of our currencies, and those currencies will be out for a short period of time so that the older ones will be taken out of the market, right, out of circulation, for the new currencies to begin to be in system. When they failed in seeing that money it was successfully distributed to Nigerians, they turned it to be, we're reducing the amount of money we have in circulation cash wise. So when you have policy somersault like this, it can send the wrong signals to Nigerians and everyone to say, government isn't sincere, because today they are saying A, tomorrow they are saying B, next tomorrow they are saying C. Which one are we supposed to hold?
I think it's not completely somersault. It's a question of poor education around a policy. It's a question of not being able to inform people clearly where you're going. That could be the major problem. Because ordinarily in policy formulation, the first thing you do in policy formulation